So Halo Studios, also known as 343 Industries, except no, we honestly care about Halo and the community this time, guys, we promise, officially announced the Halo Campaign Evolved project, a remake of Halo CE within Unreal Engine 5. And funnily enough, literally the day after this was announced, completely unplanned, I had an appointment with my tattoo artist to get my Halo CE half sleeve finished. We got the ring, we got the Pillar of Autumn, Chief's helmet on the gas giant next to the ring. We got text around it, Halo CE November 15th, 2001. And of course, we have the skull, the legendary icon. So I care a lot about Halo CE. And I have a lot of thoughts that I'm just going to run through here in the video. I didn't script this, so buckle up. With the announcement of Halo Campaign Evolved, I'm not letting myself get excited about it. And it's not because I want to be a hater. It's because if we've learned anything over the past over 10 years that 343 Industries has been in charge of Halo, it's that this game studio, whether you call them 343 or you call them Halo Studios, they are the masters of grabbing defeat from the jaws of victory. I mean, look at Halo 4's announcement trailer. If you finished Halo 3's campaign on Legendary and you watched Chief get into the cryopod of the destroyed ship to tell Cortana to wake him when they need him, you watch that and then you see him awoken when he's needed, you're so excited. And then we got Halo 4.
I am ordering you to surrender that AI! No, sir.
Take a look at the Halo 5 trailer. Halo 5, we get Chief in a Snuggie with an empty Cortana chip on a chain like a dog tag, fighting, or at least seeming to prepare to fight, a giant Guardian. And then we got Halo 5. Even Halo Infinite, when they brought back veterans from Bungie to help work on it, it was just publicity, and while the story definitely tried to recapture some of Halo's mystery, it didn't pay anything off and ended in a way that really felt like they were trying to lead into something bigger, but just didn't. So yes, I am cautiously optimistic about Halo Campaign Evolved because it looks promising. I have some of my own thoughts, some of my critiques that we'll go over here in a bit, but I also know that 343 Industries has taken some of the best opportunities to make Halo great and have fumbled the ball so hard that it's embarrassing. So, putting my emotions aside first and foremost, let's just talk about what we saw in this campaign trailer for Halo Campaign Evolved. And first off, it looks like an Unreal Engine game, for better or for worse. Now, the switch to Unreal Engine 5 for Halo is definitely going to be a talking point for a very long time. I think a lot of people are worried about things like the art style carrying over properly, and I think that you can get the art style to play well in Unreal Engine 5 from Halo, because let's be real, Unreal Engine 5 isn't beholden to one art style or another. It's entirely up to the developers and the assets to be put into Unreal Engine. That's what makes the art style. Fortnite looks nothing like RoboCop Rogue City, but they're both running in Unreal Engine. And so with Halo Studios using Unreal Engine instead of Blam, I think it's going to take a bit of time for them to really get the art style nailed down, because right now it looks like they're using some Halo Infinite assets in terms of like the grunts, the elites, even some of the weapons look like Halo Infinite asset models. But I think that if Bungie can take the Blam engine and have the art style of Halo itself change, going from like Halo 2 to Halo 3, or most notably Halo 3 to Reach, or hell, even 343 managing to change the art style of Halo CE, going from Halo Reach to Halo 4. I said that weird. I'm not going to cut it out, I'm just going to clarify. They changed the art style of Halo, going from Halo Reach, which was Bungie, to Halo 4, which was 343 Industries. They changed the art style. People didn't like it, I personally didn't like it, but they did change it within the Blam engine, and they actually optimized it really well. They made Halo 4, for all of its flaws, look really good, and they got it to run on the Xbox 360, which does give me a bit of hope for my other concern with Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, obviously people are going to be concerned about how Halo looks in Unreal Engine 5, and for me, it looks good. It still looks kind of tech demo-y, not Halo, but I am also very worried about optimization because I've seen a lot of Unreal Engine games that are horribly optimized and then others that are pretty good. I mean, obviously Fortnite runs great, but it's Fortnite. But even things like Rogue City, the RoboCop game, that was actually optimized pretty well. And I hold out hope that Halo Studios will optimize Unreal Engine because, number one, Unreal, for a lot of people, is a lot easier to work on than having to learn a proprietary engine like Blam. But also, if 343 was able to optimize the Blam engine to get something that looked like Halo 4 to run well on the Xbox 360, maybe they can do the same thing with Unreal Engine 5 with this new remake. A couple other things we saw with this game, they are bringing some new missions to the game, prequels to the main story. Apparently 3 missions that might actually pertain to Chief and to Sergeant Johnson. And I really do hope they bring back Sergeant Johnson's voice actor, because they got an impersonator or somebody who sounded close to him for, I think it was Halo Wars 2, and it was okay, but nobody can beat Scully. He was the definitive voice of Sergeant Johnson, so I really hope that they bring him back. And speaking of the voice actors, they are also re-recording dialogue from Jen Taylor, and of course, the iconic voice of Master Chief himself, Steve Downes. They are recording all the lines again, and it looks like from the gameplay demo, they're actually mixing new lines with existing character lines for the Marines and other characters, obviously, like grunts and the elites, but it did seem like there were elites who were speaking English. I don't like that, but we'll talk more about my feelings in a bit. Aside from that, it also looks like they've restructured some of the mechanics of the game, so you have sprint. Some other mechanics they're adding are things like boarding, so you can now have enemies board vehicles, and it looks like potentially you will also be able to board vehicles, which is not something that Halo got until Halo 2. They've also added the EMP effect with plasma pistols, which is something that was implemented in Halo 3. And there's just a whole lot of things that are modernizing the Halo game. Halo Campaign Evolved. They've also restructured the maps, and they've added more weapons. They said 9 more weapons, I think, one of which is the energy sword. So you can actually pick up the energy sword after killing the gold elites. That's going to be pretty cool. It's always something that I've wanted, and I'm guessing one of the other weapons you can probably pick up is the fuel rod cannon, just a guess. I'm thinking that's probably going to be the case. New weapons, that's going to be kind of cool. And then the restructuring of the map is interesting because the demo they used, B30 or the Silent Cartographer, that map is now much bigger, and it looks like, or not looks like, they literally did it, you can now, without having to do some janky work with Halo CE's old physics engine, drive a Warthog all the way to the center of the actual island, which you couldn't do before without a lot of work trying to sort of overcome the janky physics of Halo CE. And that's good because another mechanic that's changed is no more single shot with a magnum to the back of hunters. You actually have to fight them properly this time, so having a Warthog with a Gatling gun on the back is, super helpful. And the last thing I'll touch on in terms of what we saw is that they are bringing more flood forms, specifically pure forms, into Halo CE. That'll be interesting because going up against the giant tank form, that's going to be, oh god, especially in the library, that's going to be pretty rough. So I guess we will see. Either way, I really do think that what we saw is promising, but like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic because we've got a history of what 343 has done, and I don't care if they're called Halo Studios now. We've seen what they've done, and I'll leave it at that. Now, as for my own personal thoughts, I don't like the fact that sprint's in Halo, but it is what it is, and it looks like you can turn it off. I don't like the HUD layout by default, but it looks like you can change that from the demos I've seen, so that's pretty nice. But the thing that has always bugged me with these remasters and remakes, well, both in this case, is the fact that it doesn't seem like they can recapture the color palette. And it also seems, at least in this instance, that with catering towards a more modern gaming audience, the game potentially won't completely respect the player's intelligence. We'll start with the color palette first. Halo was very limited at the time because obviously it had to run on an Xbox, an original Xbox, and it was very experimental. It started out as a RTS, then a third-person shooter, then they moved the camera into first-person, then they started developing for the Mac, then Xbox bought them and they had to make this game for some pieces of hardware that nobody really knew what to do with, and so what they could pull off was already kind of a miracle, especially considering how short of a time frame they had to make the game. But one of the things they nailed was the way the game looked in terms of color. Halo itself is an alien structure floating in space, and it has this overall blue color to everything. It all has this cold, really monolithic color palette. And yes, when you get to the Marines and you get to the Chief, you get more military colors. And when you get to the enemies, you get more bright colors or more earthy and kind of gross tones when you get to the Flood. But the environment itself has always had a blue tone to it. One of the biggest things that my tattoo artist and I worked on when we were like putting this whole tattoo together was getting the color palette just right. And it just doesn't feel like they've done that with the demo that we've seen thus far. They've gotten the mood correct in a lot of ways, which gives me hope for 343 Guilty Spark, because 343 Guilty Spark is supposed to be this dark, damp, horrifying tone shift from the rest of the game, and not this bright neon plant rave that we got with Halo CE Anniversary. And when you go down into the depths of Halo itself, in the Silent Cartographer, it's supposed to be dark. The game is supposed to let dark and light play with one another. When you're outdoors, it's going to be this blue, cold, alien world look, and then when you go inside of these monolithic, simplistic structures that look cool, but also exist because of the limitations of the graphics of the hardware, you get dark areas where you are encouraged to use your flashlight, or you just absorb the atmosphere of this darker area. And they kind of nailed that with this look in Campaign Evolved, but it doesn't have the right color palette. And there's still time to change that, but they went for a natural looking light. And for some players, that's gonna look fine. But for me, it doesn't feel alien. It doesn't feel Halo. It feels like Unreal Engine. Now, as for respecting the player's intelligence, I mentioned that they are re-recording dialogue, and I actually made a short mentioning that the re-recorded dialogue didn't feel quite right to me. And what I mean is that they're adding new dialogue lines, which I think is kind of cool. There's a part where Cortana talks kind of about using religious texts from the Covenant as well as geographics data to figure out where the map room is, or at least where the cartographer is in the Silent Cartographer. I like that, but yet some of the lines just don't quite feel, in my opinion, like they should. For example, this line here.
The Covenant are putting up a real fight. The cartographer must be here. My analysis indicates that the map room should be at the bottom floor of this facility. Let's keep going inside. Don't let them lock the doors.
It feels like Cortana is a video game character telling you, the player, what you need to do next to get to the next part of the game. But then you use that same line in Halo CE Original.
The Covenant are putting up a real fight. The cartographer must be here. My analysis indicates that the map room should be at the bottom floor of this facility. Let's keep going inside. Don't let them lock the doors.
It's not a big difference, but this sounds more like a helpful combat AI telling you in the heat of battle where to go next to complete your mission. It's not something that I'm sure many players are going to notice, but over the years, a lot of, well, how should I put this? A lot of games nowadays don't respect the player's intelligence. I grew up playing games like Metal Gear Solid and obviously Halo, and those games respected your intelligence enough that they wouldn't give you instructions directly, they would kind of tell you what you should do, and then if you didn't do it, you got to pay the consequences. A perfect example, looking up and down was still fairly new on first-person shooters on consoles. Before that, we had things like GoldenEye, and that was not really a full look-around kind of game. And yes, you had vertical looking on PC, but to bring it to a console, it's one of the reasons why the original Xbox controller had 2 thumbsticks, something they actually borrowed from the DualShock controller for PlayStation. And so because looking up and down was still fairly new to first-person shooters on console, Halo introduced you to the concept by having you calibrate your armor at the very beginning by looking up and down at a set of lights. Then, later on in that same mission, they reinforced that training by having you go into a stairwell and putting the enemies on the floor above you, forcing you to look up in order to properly engage in combat. It was all done in a way that felt natural to the flow of the game, whereas modern games tell you press A to jump. Which, to be fair, Halo did that as well, but they did it by introducing you to something that you actually had to do, like jumping over a set of pipes. Other games, they just plaster the instructions on screen while you're standing in the middle of an open field. So I hope that that's not what they do here. As for how I feel about what we've seen so far with the gameplay demo, I just hope, I really hope that certain things change, like changing out the assets that are clearly pulled from Halo Infinite and using new assets that sit more in line with the bright and very distinct designs of Halo CE. The grunts, the elites. The hunters actually I think look pretty nice. I do like those. I'm curious to see what the Flood is going to look like. I think the Jackals get kind of a pass because the Jackals in Infinite literally look like the Jackals from CE, but the grunts aren't quite there. The elites, well, they're Infinite elites. So I hope that they change out some of those assets, make them look a little more Halo CE-esque but modernized, and I also hope that they improve on a lot of the sound design. Also, one of the weapons. They have to put 60 rounds in the assault rifle. That 32 round shit, no. That's not right. You put 60 rounds in the assault rifle, and when you land on the beach in Silent Cartographer, Foehammer has to say, "Touchdown, hit it, Marine!" You don't cut that shit out. Sorry. Regardless. There's things that, again, I am cautiously optimistic for, but I'm just not letting myself get excited for this because while there are really cool things coming to this, like split-screen co-op, which, yeah, I forgot to mention, split-screen co-op, what a concept. Couch co-op in a Halo game. Welcome back. And 4-player co-op, which, yes, that is nice, and the golf cart seat on the Warthog is pretty funny. Overall, there are things that this early in development I think can still be changed and improved on. I think they could definitely work on the color palette. It's early enough that they could still do that, rebake the lighting, make sure that it's not too weird, or hell, if it's real-time lighting, just change the white balance of the freaking sun. It's not going to be that hard. I've messed with Unreal Engine. Make it bluer. Fix up some of the audio effects, make them sound a little more Halo and a little less Modern Warfare. Put 60 rounds in the assault rifle. Like, there's things that can be changed because it's still early enough in development, but it's also late on enough in development that I'm holding out hope that some of these assets will get changed, but I don't think they are going to, like the grunts and the elites. Now, lastly, this is called Halo Campaign Evolved. Now, Campaign Evolved tells me that it is just the campaign. You do have co-op in the campaign, but Halo CE, obviously, and even Halo CEA had a multiplayer element to it. CE, of course, was the ultimate party multiplayer. Before you had Xbox Live, you could system link, you had a ton of options when it came to maps. It was just an overall fun party game. Halo CE Anniversary used Halo Reach with these sort of remastered Halo CE maps, and actually I think it had Yes, it had Firefight that kind of looked like the original Halo mission, which was kind of cool. But yeah, both of them had multiplayer. This one seems to not have multiplayer, at least not that they've talked about. It looks like it is, as the name implies, campaign focused. If it is campaign focused, that's fine. I love the Halo campaign, and I'll keep playing Halo Infinite and Halo MCC's multiplayer instead. But if you're going to omit what was arguably one of the biggest selling points of Halo, this game better be more in line price-wise with the Oblivion remaster, a $50 game that is just a remaster of a classic. You charge anything more, you charge 70, you charge 80, you charge 90, you charge $100 for a remake of a 25-year-old game. Nobody's buying Game Pass anymore. It's on PS5, which is cool. That's nice, I forgot to mention that. It's on PS5, so I'm sure some PlayStation fanboys who have spent the better part of 25 years hating on Halo just because they didn't have it and now they're excited because they can get it. I'm sure they'll buy it, but you make this game more than like $50. Hell, I'll give you some leeway and say 60. 50 to 60 bucks? Maybe. You go higher than that and you're asking to piss people off, so don't do that. Regardless, I'm forcing myself to not get excited about this because I've been burned before. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm really, really hoping that 343 Halo Studios doesn't once again grab defeat from the jaws of victory. Either way, those have been my thoughts. Little rambly, didn't script it, just wanted to get things out because really, I wasn't going to make this video, but I had to because Halo, it's my game, it's my favorite game, so had to make a video about it. Next video is going to be me actually giving you all the rundown on what's going to happen next here with the channel because I'm going to be moving very shortly. But aside from that, thank you all so much for watching. Huge shout out to my members, $3 a month if you want to get some wallpapers, you want to get some emojis, there's all kinds of stuff, you can check that out. Make sure to follow, but huge shout out to them. They keep the lights on here on the channel. Love you guys. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this kind of content, definitely make sure to like and subscribe. Do this stuff frequently, but gonna slow down here while I move, then it'll start up again, so just bear with me while that happens. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts about Halo Combat Evolved, Campaign Evolved down in the comments. Share some stories. Do you love Halo? Do you hate Halo? Are you a PlayStation fanboy who wished you could get Halo? Just whatever. Leave some comments down below. And aside from that, I will see you all in the next video. It's probably going to be tomorrow. It'll be an update, so I'll see you then. Make sure to be there, and have a good one.